My name is Vincent Armato. I'm an elevator technician for TEI. We did the installation here at 777 Seaview Avenue. Today I am going to be going over some basics on a list that I was given. Some of the items that we are going to be discussing are the introduction to elevator operation, an overview of car station key switch operations, overview of emergency power panel operation, and then some basic maintenance, cleaning, elevator doors, car sills, things like that. So first item on the list is introduction to elevator operation. A is elevator call button operation. So Ilya, what that means is anytime that you want to call the elevator, if you come into the building, you want to place a call, there's obviously a call button here, and there's a call button there. Both call buttons do the same thing. The only difference between that button and this button is that there is a fire recall. So, God forbid there's a fire in the building, the firemen will come in, and they will stick in their fire recall key into that red key slot, and that will basically recall all the elevators. Will go from whatever floor they are currently on, they will come all down to the lobby and stay here. So upon entering the building, if you wanted to place a call to any of the elevators to access any of the floors, you would be issued a key. As a maintenance guy, you'll already have one. You'll place the key in here, hold constant pressure on, hit the button, then you can take your key out. As you see, the number 2 car came down, gives us access. Okay, so upon the elevator coming down to the lobby floor, you access the elevator. You will not be able to access any of the floors, only the lobby, unless you actually put your master floor lockout key in, and then you're going to have to hold it on constant pressure to access the floor. Now you can take your key out. We're going up to 3. Obviously, due to the nature of the facility, it's a psychiatric center, there's going to be some strong security measures being taken. If you see now, we're on the 3rd floor. If you want to access any of the other floors, it won't take you anywhere unless you put the master floor lockout key in. The only floor that can be accessed without the master floor lockout key would be your lobby. That's your designated floor. That's where you would exit the building. You don't need a key for that. So as you see, if we don't use the key and we try to access the other floors, it won't allow you to. So you put the master floor lockout key in, hold it on constant pressure, and then it'll allow you to go to the floor. Once the button lights up, you can then pull your key out. As I told you, the only floor that you don't need to use the key for is the lobby. Now we're going back down to the lobby. And that pretty much concludes the elevator call button operation. All right, so there will be a key, I guess, issued. This is pretty much your car operating panel. In order to access the car operating panel, you're going to have a key that goes to the silver barrel. Open that, and then it's pretty basic. You have your light right here and your fan. The fan sounds like it's on right now. So if we wanted, we just turned it on to low. We went to high. And now we're basically, that's pretty much.
And if you want to have it off?
That's high, that's low. That's it right there. You just kind of have to, there's a barrel in there, but that's pretty much off. You have to just play with it. You'll feel the settings.
All right.
Okay. Same thing for the lights. You got your on and off switch. All right, that's off. You're gonna have a light in the back that's on. That's an emergency light. That's operated by a battery backup. So if we lose power, that'll stay on. Pretty basic. You have your fan, your light. Okay, great. So next thing we'll cover is the overview of car station key switch operations, independent service, inspection service, and fire service. So basically, Ilya, independent service, let's say you're the engineer here, the maintenance guy, you need to take an elevator for yourself. Maybe you have to do garbage, maybe you have an emergency and you want to dedicate an elevator just to yourself. Nobody can use it but you. You're going to throw the car on independent service. So there's a key switch in there we'll go over once I'm done explaining everything else. You're going to basically put the car on independent service, and then you'll have control of that elevator, nobody else. Next one is inspection service. I basically use inspection service if I need to do any type of maintenance on the elevator, any cleaning, if somebody needs to, get into the pit for some reason, there's a sprinkler, water, pump, anything that needs to be serviced. If you put the elevator on inspection service, that overrides everything. Even if the fire department came in here and put the cars on fire recall and recalled all these cars down, if that elevator's on inspection service, that overrides everything. The car won't move. So anytime you want the elevator to not move at all, put the car on inspection. Okay? Fire service is basically used for the fire department. Like I told you, we have a whole button on that side that services all the elevators, and there's a whole button here, obviously, just to make it easier, that service all the elevators. This button right here is your fire recall. The fire department, if they're coming in to take a look at a situation, the first thing they're going to do is want to recall the elevators down to the lobby. They don't want anybody to get stuck in the elevators during a catastrophe or a fire. So they'll put their key in here, flip it onto on, which we're going to go over, and all the cars will recall, come right down to the lobby. They won't move until it's reset. So you have a couple of different switches here. You have your on, your normal, and your reset. This is pretty much used for the fire department. I'm sure they'll issue you a key anyway. So those three things we'll go over right now. I'll access one of the cars, and I'll show you how to turn on those switches. On the bottom is your independent key switch. INDP means independent. And then on the top, you have your inspection key switch. So you would then use the same key. Let me find it. No, it's the other one. Okay.
This elevator is on independent service.
So once you get the car on independent, the doors should open up. It'll tell you that the car is now on independent service. And then you, as the service guy, the person that, flipped that switch, you have complete control of the elevator. So if we want to go to a floor, it overrides, I'm pretty sure, your master floor lockout, so we can hold 5. And then you're just going to hold door close. You continue to hold it until the doors close. Once you feel the elevator take off, you can let go. Now, once you put the car on independent service, Ilya, it takes this elevator out of the automatic system. So if somebody now, while you're using this elevator for yourself, if someone goes, let's say now, they come into the building, they walk into the lobby, they're not going to be able to access this specific elevator. There'll still be 3 other elevators that'll service the building, and then you'll just be able to keep this one for yourself. So it'll kind of take it out of the group, okay? Same thing, we're still on independent, we have control of the elevator. I'm a maintenance guy, I'm picking up garbage on the floors. I keep it on independent. I gather my garbage, I put it on my elevator. Now I have to go down to the 4th floor, do the same thing. I'm gonna hold 4. As you see, core latched. I'm gonna hold door closed till the doors are completely closed. When I feel the elevator take off, I can let go.
Fourth floor.
All right, and that pretty much concludes independent service. We can keep the car on independent. The inspection key switch is going to use the same key as I instructed you guys before, Ilya too. Anytime, let's say you have to conduct some type of service in the pit, or let's just say you don't want this car to move at all, you want to take it out. You could take the same key, come up to the inspection switch, and just basically turn it on. I guess it's a different key. Same color barrel.
This car is now on inspection service.
And it'll tell you that you're on inspection service. So from this point, I can't do anything. I can't open, I can't close, no calls will latch. It's completely inoperable. Okay, so we typically use inspection for anytime we're servicing the machinery. If I have to go into the motor room and I don't want anything moving, no pinch points, I don't want to get caught in between something. Anytime you want to take this machinery out of service, you put the car on inspection. Okay, so something else we should cover as far as servicing the elevator. Anytime an elevator technician or a mechanic needs to come in and access the elevator pit, or possibly even to access the top of the elevator, there is a built-in key switch. It's called an access key switch that we use in the elevator industry. It's only for an elevator technician, not for any type of maintenance, building supervisors. Nobody's pretty much trained to use this type of option. I wouldn't use it, I wouldn't recommend it. Leave that up to the elevator technician who's trained to use that key switch. So to show you exactly how to operate that switch, once again, we need to access the panel to throw the car on access, and then I'll show you exactly what it does. We're going to call the elevator. You take the key, and now we're able to run the elevator up. Okay. We typically run the elevator up to a limit. It's electronically shut off automatically at a certain height so that you're able to access the pit. It gives you some overhead clearance. And like I instructed you before, anytime the car's on inspection or access, it's inoperable. Nobody can use this elevator. It will not move. You have complete control of the elevator. So Ilya, like I said, you basically have access now, to get into the elevator pit. If something fell, you need to sweep up. If a piece of jewelry fell into the elevator pit, someone needs to find their earring, something, you now have access. Okay? Same thing, you want to bring the elevator back down, there's an up and a down switch. Bring the car down. Okay, so now, fire recall. So let's say there's some smoke in the building, there's a potential fire. If any of the smoke heads or any detector for fire gets set off, the cars will automatically get put on fire recall, and they will all come down to the lobby floor. If you, as the building guy, maintenance, engineer, a porter, if you need to hold the elevators down here, you can then come, the key wasn't on here, but,
2642?
yeah, I got it. You could pretty much come here. Oh, good. Wait a couple of seconds. These cars, they were already on the lobby, but as you see, if you turn around, once the car goes on fire service, the system goes on, each elevator will recall down to the lobby. There's a siren, a buzzer that activates, that notifies you that all the elevators are coming down. Once the elevators come down, all the doors will open and the sirens will stop. Then the firemen, they can then get into the elevator, pick an elevator, they could put it on fire service, and then they'll be able to use a specific elevator to potentially fight the fire or whatever the case is, and then access, swiftly and safely. So that's pretty much the conclusion of fire service, independent service, inspection, and I guess we'll go into something next. Okay, next on our list is the overview of emergency power panel operation, which is located directly next to the forecar. You can follow me over here. The key that will be used for the elevator emergency power panel is the same key that we use for fire service. It's a 2642. Place the key in, turn it, open. Okay, so as you see, we basically have a digital map of where these elevators are. Let me take them off fire service first. So we have our elevator emergency power, and we have our elevator communication failure. First thing I'll cover, I guess, is the elevator communication failure. So basically, we have a telephone set up. There is a direct telephone line to each elevator. In the event somebody gets stuck in the elevator, a maintenance guy or somebody controlling the building will be able to contact that elevator and speak to the people inside. We have each elevator, car 1 through 5, is basically listed here. And just like anything else, you can pick up the phone and dial whatever car, push a button to whatever car's labeled. You give it a couple of minutes, you'll hear a dial tone, it'll ring the elevator, and then you'll be able to speak to whoever's in the elevator. The elevator communication failure, basically, all right, back to elevator communication failure. That's basically used anytime the phone line goes out. If you lose your phone line, the phone line doesn't work, basically what will happen is you will have to wait till the phone line is actually restored, and then in order for you to reset the system, you'll basically take your key, you'll put it in here, and then you'll have to reset the system. That's basically pretty simple, that's all it does. It won't reset until you actually reset it. So if the line gets cut, for whatever the case is, you're not going to be able to use the telephones or any type of communication. They restore the line. It won't restore itself on your end until you actually reset the system. So that's your elevator communication failure, LMA reset. Emergency power, basically this panel will allow any person who's controlling the system, if for some reason the building loses power, we go on temporary power through generator. Anytime the power is cut off, you give it, a couple of seconds, it could be a minute. What'll happen is the generator will kick on, it'll then service the elevators. The way we set this up is when you're on emergency power, cars 1 and 2 will be used on automatic service. 3 and 4, they will not be in service. The generator can only handle, let's say, 2 elevators at a time. We set it up under automatic. So if you see here, the panel tells you you have auto 1, 2, 3, 4. We advise to keep it on auto because it'll service 2 cars instead of 1. If, let's just say, for some odd reason, you want to just operate 1, you can take it off auto and then just click either 1, 2, 3, or 4. But the only problem with that is you're only going to be able to have 1 car in service as opposed to 2. Also, to cover any time that we go on emergency power, the building goes on emergency power, your generators kick in. Before the 1 and 2 car goes into automatic service, every single car will first recall to the lobby. So if anybody, let's say, is in the elevator at the time we lose power, the elevators will recall just like fire service. There'll be a buzzer that comes on, the cars will recall to the lobby, the doors will all open, and then within a couple of minutes, only the 1 and 2 car will be operable on automatic service, and you'll be able to use those cars for any type of movement. All right, so that pretty much concludes the emergency power and your LMA reset, which is elevator communication failure. Something I also wanted to cover as far as the emergency power panel. The panel does also cover the service car, which is 18-5. That runs on its own. So if the building does go on emergency power, in this bank of elevators, you're only going to be able to use 1 and 2 car on emergency power, but 5 car, which is the service elevator, will operate on its own. You don't have to worry about, hitting 5. It'll be in motion regardless of emergency power. You don't have to worry about that. 5 will always run. And if you're on emergency power in this bank, 1 and 2 cars will run. All right, so Ilya, 95% of reasons why elevators shut down is the doors. So the track pretty much has to be cleaned out completely. Something as simple as a thumbtack would cause this car door, the doors for the elevators, to not want to close. It would cause complications. So maintenance that you want to do frequently, very often, check them, would be the tracks. So basically you go to every floor. I usually take a flathead screwdriver and a vacuum. You have a convenience outlet that's actually in this car operating panel. You can plug a vacuum into that, and I basically scrape it with a flathead screwdriver, any debris that's in there, and then you can take a vacuum and just kind of vacuum the sills. I would do the same for this one. So you have, your car sill, and then you have your hoist sill. These are your hoist doors, these are your car doors. Both tracks, they work together, so I would definitely make sure that they're clean. Next thing that they want to cover is if there is an emergency and you want this elevator to just basically not move. There's an emergency, you need to, okay, so proper way to shut down the elevator in emergencies. As we covered before, and I'll say it again, inspection is probably your quickest way to shut down the elevator so that nobody can use the elevator. It's still going to be energized upstairs, through the mainline disconnect. If you want to take another precaution, Ilya, you can go up to the elevator machine room. There's a disconnect there. I could take you up there later. I'll show you the disconnects. You kill the main line. I would throw a hasp on the line with a lock, and then that machinery is not going to be used. It'll be out of service, and it will not be functioning. So that's pretty much what we do. Anytime we need to shut down the elevator in emergencies, we throw the car on inspection, and we usually run up to the motor room and disconnect the main line. And we throw a hasp on it with a lock, and then we'll just basically key off the elevator. So inspection, and then just de-energize the main line, and that'll pretty much take the elevator completely out of service. This is the 18-5 elevator. Ilya, this is your service car. This car you can actually operate, and it'll take you directly to the elevator machine rooms. Those 4 cars, 18-1 through 18-4, you can only go to the 4th floor. This one will allow you to go up to the elevator machine room, just something good to know. 5th floor, right.